So Theo Von, people who watch the show may have no idea. Theo Von has one of the largest podcasts in the world now, I think. It's probably top 5 in America, but maybe even top 5 in the world. I don't know. He had on Gabor Maté, and Gabor Maté, many people may know him. He is a very highly respected psychologist. He writes and speaks a lot on trauma, on childhood trauma. He himself was a baby in the Holocaust. His parents basically handed him off so that he could survive. And his son is Aaron Maté, who I know pretty well, but I've never met Gabor Maté. But anyway, Gabor Maté, as a Holocaust survivor, speaks very well and eloquently about the genocide that is going on right now in Gaza. And Theo Von is, basically a comedian, but he has on some good guests, and he is kind of just starting to learn about, I think as a lot of America is, sadly, to learn about how this is an actual genocide. This is what it is. And he had a very, very heartfelt reaction hearing Gabor Maté speak.
This is the children in Gaza are experiencing right now with the daily bombings and all this kind of stuff. What can they think? That there's something wrong with me.
Oh, imagine some kid over there in Gaza looking up and there's a bomb, and they think, man, I'm so horrible, I deserve to be bombed.
Well, you know what? There was a study done of Gazan children.
Man, that's crazy. I hadn't thought about that. Like, really imagine that, though.
There was a study done of children in Palestine. Can you imagine what's going to happen to that generation?
Years from now?
Years from now. I mean, it just breaks my heart every day when I think about it. And
for any kids,
I know a lot of my fellow Jews don't agree with me, but as a Jewish person, I'm not the only one who feels that way. It especially breaks my heart.
Yeah. When you put it in that sense, that a kid, imagine a kid like, because what are they going to think? They don't know. They just think, man, something's so wrong with me. I deserve to be killed.
Yeah.
Or something. I don't know.
It's just a terrible.
No, it's heartbreaking. I mean, it feels like a genocide is going on over there and you don't know what to do, it's like, I mean, you can pray, you can speak up about it. And I know that there's like a more political aspects of it. And we've had different people come on to talk about Israel and Palestine on here. And it was very knowledgeable for a lot of our listeners because you hear about it a lot, but you don't know the history and everything. But
well, I've been there. I went there 2.5 years ago to work with the Palestinian women tortured in Israeli jails.
Wow.
And they had post-traumatic stress disorder.
So, I like seeing, and for those listening to the podcast, Theo Von is drying his eyes because he's tearing up as he's speaking. And I like seeing that these people who kind of are so far out of a political understanding of our country, of the world, like even they are starting to get it, it's been a year, but this is still much of America is still waking up to what this really is.
Yeah, it seemed like Theo Von is being, honest and transparent.
Yeah. I think many people have not, they've seen some of the imagery, but I think they see an image of a dead child and they go, oh, many of them for the past year have gone, oh, it's kind of shrugged it off like that's horrific, but it's complicated. And I don't really know what's going on there. And I think many of those people who have tried to shrug this off, tried to ignore this in one way or another, are starting to come to the realization of.
Yeah, I think there's two main, they think oh, well, it's so complicated. It's both sides. It's tragic when it's pretty simple settler colonialism. And two, they think it's far away when it's actually extremely close to home in terms of Israel's relationship to the U.S.
Yeah, and in terms of, Theo Von might not know this, but in terms of the fact this couldn't be going on without U.S. approval.
Yeah.
U.S. approval and bombs, but Israel doesn't have enough bombs. They don't have enough money to destroy their economy and keep going. If it weren't for the U.S., they don't have enough armaments. They don't have enough to go on like this. If it weren't for the United States funding them, arming them every second of every day, every 36 hours, the U.S. ships more missiles over to Israel to rain down on children. And, the analogy I've used, which points out just how insane it is, it'd be like a mall shooter that is just mowing everyone down, and his friend is standing outside the mall, not involved. And the press is, people in the press and everything have circled outside the mall, circling this friend and saying, what's going on in there? And he goes, it doesn't look good. Like, I wish it weren't happening. And then every once in a while, this guy outside the mall turns around and hands more guns and ammo to the guy inside. and says, you know, this really needs to stop. Oh, you need some more? Okay, here's some more guns. Just okay,
Yeah.
just let me know what you need, and I'll be here with it. Yeah, this really shouldn't be happening. It's bad.
It's unconscionable, as Kamala Harris said yesterday.
It's unconscionable. Yeah, that's the best you'll get from her, really. But yeah, everyone should look up Gabor Maté if they're not familiar with his work.